Hello, wonderful people, friends, families, and loved ones. My name is Ishmael Nyame, and I'm super excited to come your way again with another exciting episode of our study. Like we started already in some previous videos, we are still on some special areas, okay, in our science levels and areas where we have actually identified some most occurring or most predominant topics, okay, that has to deal with the BEC. I mean, we have selected certain areas that are so promising to be part of the incoming BEC and the other BECs to be written, all right? We are just having the back of you students in your various homes, your schools, okay, that are preparing for the various BEC. Now, I have on the board some tool or some device, okay, that sometimes gets to be a little bit complicated, okay, a little bit complex and quite unfamiliar to students, okay, in terms of identification and uses and other stuff. So today we are going to take a look at those instruments. Then we shall be able to satisfy these things that I have outlined here. These things are some objectives that we are going to make sure we exhaust, okay, in the course of our study. So by the end of going through this and this, we should be able to know what we should be looking out for, when we want to identify a secateur. Then also we want to identify a shear, okay? You could identify or you could pronounce a secateur as secateurs, okay? Secateurs, that is how you could best pronounce that, secateurs. So the first objective, it says that identify the secateurs and the shear. So for you to be able to identify a secateurs and a shear, you would have to be looking out for some special facts or some special information, okay? In the aspect of a secateurs, you have to be looking out for something like or a part like the spring, okay? Then also you pay attention to the length of the blade. Then also you pay attention to the number of the blade, okay? So you pay attention to the number of the blade, the length of the blade, then the presence of a spring, okay? So if you have this kind of tool, any of these two tools, okay, and you see one with a spring, the presence of the spring tells you that what you have there is what? A secateur, okay? Then also, if you have the length of your blade to be very short, okay, it is a clue that what you have there is a secateur. Then the next thing is that if you have your blade to be just single, if the blade is one, if the cutting edge is just one, then you have a secateur. So anything apart from this should be giving you a clue that what you have is not a secateur, but a shear or a guarding shear. Now let me make this one clear. Even the secateur is also a type of shear. So they are both shears, okay? They are both shears. Just that the secateurs are some kind of shears that are quite different from what? The guarding shears in terms of its appearance and even use or uses. Okay, so for you to be able to identify this one or this as a secateurs or as guarding shears, you have to pay attention to three different things. Okay, so you pay attention to the length of the blade, the number of the blade. Then also you pay attention to the what? To the presence of the spring. So if there is a spring, it means that what you have is what? A secateurs, not a shear. Okay, so looking at B is not having spring. Okay, that means that B isn't what? A secateurs, but A is having a spring. Okay, so a clue that A is what? A secateurs. The next thing is that looking at the blade of B, okay, it appears very wide in length, okay? That should tell you that it is not what? A secateurs, but it is what? A guarding shears, okay? So there is a guarding shear because it has a very lengthy what? Blade. Then the next thing is that the number of the blade, okay, the number of the sharp edge, okay? So with what we have in B is having what? two sharp edges, okay, or two blades. All right, so because it has two blades, it means that what we have here is not a secateurs, but it is what? Garden shears. So garden shears do not have spring, so we don't see any spring in here, okay. Then also garden shears have very lengthy blade, okay. So you see the blade is lengthy, it's wide, okay. Then garden shears also have two blades, so we have this and we have this, okay, two cutting edges, okay. So this fact tells you that what you have here as B is what? Is garden shears. With that of A, we have very narrow or short length in terms of what? The blade. The blade we have here is a very short one. It is not lengthy. So that is a clue that what we have here is a secateurs. The next thing is that the blade we have here is just one. It is not two. This one you are seeing here is the single blade that we have. This is the single blade that we have. This one here is not a blade. It is not a blade. It is not having a sharp edge like this one. Okay, so we only have a single blade over here. That is the top one. Okay, so this one here isn't a blade because it's not having a sharp edge. Okay, so like I said previously, in a secateurs we have only one blade. And that is what I've just explained. What we have here is an anvil, okay? So we actually place the substance to be cut. If it is a branch, okay, the branch will be cut on the anvil, okay? Then we press the handle to apply force, okay, on the branch, okay, to be able to cut the branch with this blade on the anvil, okay? So that is the part that we have as the spring. Then there is the anvil. Then there is the blade. This is bolt and nuts, or nut and bolts. Then there is the handle. So something similar here. The nuts and bolts. Then blades. Then handle, okay, then handle. So you can see the difference very clearly, okay. So there is a spring and we do not have spring, okay. Lengthy blade, short blade, two blades, single blade, okay. So that is how you get to identify these two tools, okay. That is how you identify them. So I had you looking at this too, because sometimes you may be given just one, okay. And if you are giving just one, all that you need to do is to just remind yourself of what I have taken you through now, okay. Just the three things, the three factors: the length of the blade, the number of the blade. Then the last one is what? The presence of what? A spring. Whether there is a spring or we do not have a spring. If there is a spring, a clue of secateurs. If the blade is not lengthy, I mean if it is short, a clue of secateurs. If the blade is just one, a clue of secateurs. If the blade is lengthy, a clue of garden shears. If the blade is two in number, a clue of garden shears. If we do not have a spring, a clue of what? Garden shears. So from this, it should be able to satisfy our first objective. So we have been able to exhaust our first objective. The next one is name the parts of the secateurs, and I've done that already. Then the parts of the shears as well. Then distinguish between the secateurs and the shears. I've done that too. I made mention of the length of the blade, so short in length, then wide or longer in length, then single blade, two blades, okay. Presence of a spring, absence of what? A spring. So that's the difference. Then you can even use their uses as difference too. But let's first speak of the uses. Then we use the uses to make out the difference. So we use the secateurs, okay, to cut branches that are quite thick, okay, that are quite thick, all right. But in the case of the shears, the garden shears, we use it to cut branches that are elite or quite what? Thin. Okay, not as thick as the one that will be cut with what? The secateurs. Okay, so we use these ones on branches that are a little bit or quite thick. Okay, then we use those that are less what? Thick. Okay, that is quite thin. Okay, we use this one to cut those that are quite thin. All right, so in the main outline of uses, you say that the secateurs, okay, are used to cut branches, okay, that has quite thick what? Diameter, okay, or that are quite thick in diameter, okay. Then also we use the garden shears to what? To trim edges of plants, to trim edges of plants, okay. So we use it for what? For trimming. Okay, then also we use it to cut excess branches of what? Plants. But in that situation, those branches should be those that have the little or the less diameter in terms of what? In terms of thickness. Okay, so those are some uses of the secateurs and what? The garden shears. So the difference is even right now. We use the secateurs to cut branches of a little bit of large thickness, okay. Then we use garden shears to cut branches with quite thin thickness, okay. Or this for cutting branches of a larger thickness, branches of a smaller thickness, okay. Then the last aspect, ways of maintaining the tools. So of course we have a metallic part, so we should make sure that after use we should have them being clean, okay, and dried as well. So after usage, we clean them and we what? We dry them to stop or prevent rusting, okay? Yeah, then also we should use them for their rightful job. Should we be using this one to be cutting those branches with the bigger thickness, okay? That will be causing a little bit shifts in the what? In the bolt and the knot, okay? So actually use this one to be working on those branches with that little thickness, then this one on those branches with that larger thickness, quite larger thickness. Okay, so we have just one blade. We have just this one, the one on top as the single blade. Okay, then the one below isn't a blade. It is not a blade because it's not having a sharp edge. Okay, it is very blunt. It's even quite flat. Okay, so what we have here below is not a blade. It's not having a sharp edge. It's flat. Okay, and what we call this one here is what? Anvil. And what we call this one here is the blade, of course, because it has what? A sharp edge. Okay, being able to cut through thick branches when those branches are placed upon the anvil. Okay, then what we have here is two blades, okay, which are very lengthy. So absence of spring, two lengthy what? Blades. So a clue for what? Garden shears. Okay, so you should be able to answer such questions like these ones, okay, just in case you happen to see them. Okay, yeah. So if you are really understanding or having a concrete, comprehensive study with me right now, then I entreat you to hit on the thumbs up button, okay, to like it, then also share it with your friends to be able to have them also enjoying what you are enjoying now, okay. Then also you hit up the notification button to be able to have all notifications of the new videos that are being dropped, so you don't miss them. Then the last thing is that I am done, and thank you so much for being with me. Bye bye.